Hello, I'm Jill Wyoskowski, a librarian at Caroline Kennedy Library. Right now, we're all stuck at home due to the COVID-19 pandemic. How are you spending your time? I'm into crafts that repurpose or upcycle items that typically gather in drawers or we plan to drop into our recycling bins. In this episode of Handmade at Home, I'll show you how to repurpose magazines you have lying around the house by turning them into a decorative bowl in 7 easy steps. Let's get started. Step 1. Let's gather the supplies for this project. The supplies are pretty simple with things you likely have already in your home. A variety of magazines. The more ads, the better, as they are usually the most colorful, which is exactly what we're looking for. A bowl to use as a mold. I opted for a small plastic serving bowl that I know wouldn't be missed for a chunk of time. Wax paper. I lined the inside of my bowl with this to prevent the paper coils from gluing themselves to the plastic. It also allowed for easy cleanup. A pair of scissors. A paper clip. I partially uncoiled a paper clip to create a prong to help tightly wrap the centers of my magazine coils. You'll see some images later. Glue. Just about any type of glue would work for this project. I opted to use Mod Podge and a junky paintbrush that was in a watercolor set. I poured the Mod Podge into a small cup and worked out of that for this project. Optional, a hot glue gun. For speed, I opted to assemble my bowl using a hot glue gun. It is not necessary, but your results may vary. On to our next step. Step 2, making strips. Grab your magazines. When selecting pages, look for lots of color. Advertisements and feature articles with full page pictures, unless you're pulling pages from a nature magazine. I used old issues from Bon Appetit, New Yorker, Wired, and some teen magazines from the librarian, which gave me some added pink and purple rolls. Now to fold. Consistency is important. Using the long edge of the page, fold it over about 1/4 to 1/2 inch. The choice is yours. And then do the same fold one more time, making sure that the creases are crisp and sharp. Use your scissors to cut the strip. Repeat this process for each magazine page. Now, there's not a magic number of strips for this project. I found myself returning to this step while I was assembling my bowl. Step 3, organize and glue. To create colored rolls, you want to sort and organize your paper strips by color. For example, group shades of color together. Using the glue of your choice, spread it along the inner fold of each strip. Think of it like making a sandwich, and then fold them closed. Step 4, cover your bowl. Using wax paper, cover the inside of your bowl. This will help prevent the rolled magazine pages from sticking directly to the surface of your bowl. Side note, I loosely assembled my bowl as I rolled my magazine pages. It let me figure out how many rolls I'd need and the sizes. That's why this step is right here. Step 5, roll, roll, and roll again. All right, I'm gonna be honest, this part of the project took quite a while to complete and was pretty messy, but the end result was well worth it. Depending on the size of your bowl you selected to serve as a mold, you may need lots of paper rolls. For my project, I selected what I thought was a small serving bowl, but it took about 90 rolls of varying sizes to make my magazine bowl, so that translates to lots of strips of paper and lots of rolling. Let's get rolling. Choose a color you'd like to start with and apply glue along one side of the strip. If you haven't done so already, uncoil your paper clip so that you have a prong to work with and begin tightly wrapping the strip with the glued side around the paper clip prong and then around the strip itself so that you have a small, tight coil. Wrap additional strips as desired to create different sized coils. Using the paper clip after the first couple of wraps is no longer necessary. I developed a nerdy system for the rolls I created. 1 single strip coiled was a small roll, 2 to 3 strips coiled I deemed to be a medium-sized roll, and anything beyond that was large. Putting the bowl together was a bit like a puzzle. The small rolls fit in the gaps naturally created between the medium and large size rolls. Sharing an idea. So my project workflow was like this. I made a huge pile of strips, organized them by color, and then would create a variety of different size rolls from that pile. From that point, I would begin fitting the rolls together like a puzzle and gluing together. After the pile of rolls was glued together, I'd return to making more strips and then more rolls again. Okay, on to our next step. Step 6, gluing it all together. For the first few rolls of the bottom of the bowl, I selected large ones. I used my hot glue gun and applied glue to the edges and quickly set them together like puzzle pieces in the bottom of my mold. I found this to be the easiest. The sides of the bowl were a bit more tricky. It was at this point fold-size consistency became very important. A few of my rolls were thicker than 1/4 inch and ended up sticking into the bowl, and honestly, it just didn't look good. I ended up not using those. It was also at this point that I learned that I should have different sized rolls to fill gaps. When working on the sides of the bowl, I purposely arranged the rolls so that the seams would be mostly hidden. I applied glue to the edges and quickly packed the rolls next to each other while applying a bit of pressure to help the bond. This step truly felt like a puzzle, but it was so much fun. Piece together your bowl, roll by roll, until you reach the rim of your mold. I personally struggled with the rim of my bowl because where do you stop? I kept adding smaller rolls to make my rim more even looking, and then I just made myself stop. It was quite amusing. Do what you think looks best. There is no right or wrong way. You may need to repeat earlier steps, make more strips, and create more rolls throughout this project. I know I did. Step 7. Lift the wax paper. This is the last and final step. Yay! When the glue is dried or cooled, depending on what type you used, pinch the overlapping pieces of wax paper and slowly lift and separate it from your mold. Gently peel the wax paper off your magazine bowl. I only had a few spots which needed extra attention. Thanks for dropping by and watching this episode of Handmade at Home. We would love to see pictures of your magazine bowl. Feel free to email us at dhreference@gmail.com or tag your images on social media using the hashtag DHCLibraries. I'm Jill Wyoskowski with Caroline Kennedy Library. Stay connected with us at dhcl.mishlibrary.org and on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and now on Pinterest. Thanks for tuning in.